In this workshop series, we're going to talk about social media security and how to stay safe in our digital world. People ask me all the time what I believe the security risks are of social media. I'll tell you that there's some soft risks and there's more hard risks. The soft risks come with the information that they gather, right? The things that they know about you, the tidbits of information that you put out there. Those are things that can be built, if you will. They call them a legend, right? Something that I can build a story about you if I can go collect all the data that you put out there. And then I know by using that information how to come at you, what might be a way to engage you. But there are hard risks as well. Computer compromise. There are, there's a lot of people, as I mentioned in some of our previous workshop series, where there's shortened URLs now, the tiny URLs that are out that get texted to you. So you get a text from a buddy and it says, hey, take a look at these dancing minions or something, and you think that's what it is, but it's actually from a bad guy, and you click on the link and now you're compromised. You might get a link in a post from Facebook or something like that, and it takes you to a place where you're going to get a virus or possibly ransomware, malware, something of that nature. Identity theft, right? The ultimate goal is to gather real human credentials so that they can try to use that data to break in your bank accounts, to break into maybe tax returns, things of that nature. And then privacy concerns, as I mentioned, the information that you put out there, the information that others post about you, and information that the social networking sites collect and share with others. You've seen this in the news recently, the outbursts and the outcries from Facebook and the data that's being shared that is not even something that necessarily you intended to share, but it's the number of times you visited, say, a particular shopping site, or the number of times that you went from that you visited a particular game. So this is information that's being shared about you, kind of demographics and things of that nature. We tell people that I've got an example here showing Facebook, but we tell whatever social media platform you're using, make sure that you are going in and checking your privacy settings. It was brought out in the media recently, so there's more people that are checking that Facebook had more relaxed settings, and they had some defaults in there that were open to allow to share to other things. But make sure that you go in and it's not hard. At a lot of these pages, it'll tell you, it will guide you through what you're actually showing right now and how you can dial that back. Some people think it's cool to share with the world. I will tell you that's very dangerous. You post a lot of things on Facebook that people might consider intimate, such as your children's names, your whereabouts, where you're at right this moment. If you're a businessman, you might be putting out there that you just checked in on your flight headed to California, and now everyone knows that your family in Tennessee is alone, right? So you've got to be very cautious and careful about who you're sharing with. If you're only sharing with friends and family, that cuts your risks immediately. So be very careful when you're setting up your privacy settings. LinkedIn request. Be careful when you get these requests. Some people again think it's a form of flattery. I've got 25,000 people that I'm connected with LinkedIn. I only know 1,000. You have to be careful because they could see data. They have access to things because they are your friend that they can then turn around and use to phish you, or turn around and use to try to social engineer you. So be careful where it's at. And again, this is a double whammy here. This particular one says, hey, please add me to your network, and you have to click on the accept button. You don't know this by looking at it out of the gate, but that's an actual hyperlink, right? So you have to make sure you inspect that link as well, that you hover over the mouse button there where it says accept, and make sure that it is actually going to where you think it's going to. In this case, you see the very large URL it's going to. It's linkedin.com, and there's a network invite, and there's nothing in this hover here that tells me that I would not click on it. But again, what I would tell you is, I've said this in previous series, there is absolutely no reason ever to click on a link in an email. And people say, well, what if I wanted this to be my friend? Then log into the LinkedIn application and accept them from inside the application. Don't be lazy. Don't click the link. Be smart and secure on your smartphone. A lot of people do not realize that in recent years, when they first came out, we didn't have antivirus or security agents for our mobile phones. but in recent years, there's been, even since we first wrote this slide, we had 2 originally on here. We've now got 5, and there's dozens of them out there. Any one of these, some of these are free, some of these are paid. Again, I tell you, you get what you pay for, right? So it's worth it, for $12 a year, $19 a year, $30 a year. It's worth it to have security on your devices. And I would tell you that even if you've got an iPad or a Android tablet that your kids are using just to play games on, make sure you put mobile security on there. TMI, too much information. I mentioned this a little bit, but here's some examples just on Twitter where this person puts out there, I'm going on vacation the first week of August. I'm going to Maine, as a matter of fact. And if I know you live in Tennessee, then guess what? I know you're going to be out of your house and away from your house for this amount of time, right? Or, you know, maybe it's just as simple as, you know, this particular author here checked in at the Denver airport, right? Monday at 7 p.m. Well, I know where he's not Monday at 7 p.m. He's not at home in his California home, right? Or, you know, here's something for business users you got to be careful with: how much information you put in your out of office, right? Sometimes I think that people get a little ego wrapped up inside their out of office just to make sure everybody in the office knew that they were going to Europe, right? It also tells everyone that I'm going to be out of the country. If you want to, you know, I often say this helps you. What about if I just put a sign in my front yard that says, "We are not here. Help yourselves. I won't be back until, you know, August 29th. But until then, the house is completely empty. You know, enjoy." That's effectively what you're saying when you're saying these things. You know, that again, like I've said in previous series, the intent behind the technology was to share with your friends. Hey, this is a great. Jeremy just checked in at this restaurant. It was fantastic, right? So that my friends might want to go check it out. But unfortunately, that information is, if I'm sharing it with everyone in the world, they all know where I'm at. I'll give you another vector you might not think about in the next slide. You'll see that our images even, right? This came out in some news reports in the last year that by default on a lot of the mobile applications, when you take a phone, it geotags the location of where you were when you took that picture, right? And you might think, well, that's harmless, right? If someone can right click on my picture and figure out the longitude and latitude of that picture, and that's true, except for if that's a place that you go to often and you say in your post, here's my favorite place to be on Saturdays, right? Now everyone in the world, including creepers and stalkers, know that you're going to be at this bridge or at this particular pass on Saturdays around 8 a.m., right? Or again, like I've said in the past, you might be saying, take a picture and it posts, and you might know exactly where you are, but it's just as important to know exactly where you are not, right? So if I post a picture to my account from here I am on the San Francisco Bridge, well, everyone knows I am not in my home in Tennessee. So you want to be careful, and if you want to know how to take the GPS tags off of your photos, it's really simple. You can Google search how to turn off geotagging for an iPhone or how to turn off geotagging for Android. Make sure you are clicking on reputable sites such as Apple or Android Central and not hackersite.com/Russia, something of that nature. Thank you again for joining this workshop series. Please check out our other resources that are available on our Learning Center at pnfp.com.